So like I said, yeah, if you are uncomfortable with being recorded, just close your video screen down. Excellent. So yeah, welcome everyone. This is the opening and award ceremony for our 30th Biennial Young Adult Exhibition. So this is artwork and poetry from high school students all over Rhode Island. I am Sarah Swift. I am the gallery director here. And so I had the pleasure of getting to work with all the teachers, unpacking all the artwork, and it just is such a phenomenal body of work from everyone. So I just want to say, anyone who is included in this show, it's a big honor to be chosen by your teachers. So even as we're going through awards and everything, I don't want anyone to be disappointed because it really is such an honor just to be in the gallery space. So thank you all. I wanted to say quickly, we probably have a lot of people here who actually don't know about Hera Gallery too much. We might have some first timers. So I'll just really quickly say, we are the 5th oldest women's run art cooperative in the country. We are artist run and run by a board, run by myself, and such a wonderful community space that really promotes work from students to emerging artists to mid-range and high-level professional artists. So I'd urge everyone to check our website and check out the other programming that we have going on. With that said, I also just thank RISCA and the Friends of Hera, which are what make all of this possible. They provide our funding, and especially through COVID have helped us maintain an open gallery through all of this. Some more people coming in. So I will start right off with our poetry. I don't want to have everyone be here for too long, so we'll try to move this along. So I would like to introduce HALIMA IBRAHIM. She is our juror for the poetry portion of this show. She's a sophomore at the Community College of Rhode Island and is a fine art and art history major. She serves right now as the 2020-2021 Youth Poetry Ambassador and uses her poetry to educate masses on nuanced topics that aren't widely discussed. Unafraid to tackle controversial topics such as gun violence, chronic illness, ableism, Islamophobia, and the struggles of being biracial in America, she unapologetically speaks to audiences from 20 to 7,000. Some of HALIMA's most powerful poetry can be seen in her 2018 TED Talk, When Life Gives You Lime. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce HALIMA.
So as I said before, my name is HALIMA IBRAHIM, and I'm currently the Rhode Island Youth Poetry Ambassador. So as a short introduction to me and my role in the state, I wanted to briefly explain what the position means. So the Rhode Island Youth Poetry Ambassador is a position created by the poet laureate Tina Kane to celebrate and grow the poetry community within our state's young adult population and our education systems. A new ambassador and deputy poet ambassador are chosen every year and becomes the chosen representative of all youth, young poets in Rhode Island. I'm the ambassador for 2021, but originally I was chosen as our state's 3rd poetry ambassador at the start of 2020. As I was reading the submissions for the exhibition's youth poetry competition, I'm confident to say that every one of the poets that I read from has what it takes to become one of our future poetry ambassadors, which is super exciting. And I urge each one of you to apply once applications are open again. So before announcing the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st place winners, I was asked to read one of my own poems. The poem I will be reading is titled Bigotry in the Time of Infection. It's part of a larger body of work that will be exhibited at AS220, one of the AS220 galleries during the month of March, so keep an eye out on that. But the poem Bigotry in the Time of Infection. I've realized COVID wasn't the first to make me put on a mask, not the first cloth to shield me from infection, nor the first disguise I've worn as protection, but in my poems, my face is bare. At the DMV, the woman behind the counter asked me to take my mask off for a photo. She instructs me to take my glasses off as well. I do. But then she tells me, you need to take your headband off too. When my identity is seen as an accessory, I'm reminded that my mask is not the only cloth to shield me from infection. And the white woman coughs, spits bigotry like a virus. In every movement, to her, I am but a brown woman dressed as a terrorist. In line, I catch 3 old Italian women staring at me from across the room, waiting for the moment I'd blow. Instead, I smile under my mask, and they cough, unable to separate the hijab from the human, unable to humanize the face under the mask, though theirs is covered too. But in my poems, my face is bare. I'm hand sewing labels onto costumes in the costume shop on my campus. And a man tells me I look like a little Russian lady, pointing to my scarf and earrings. And I wonder if he's meaning to call me a gypsy, like Shakespeare to Cleopatra. And I think to remind him, the term does not technically refer to my people, so I prefer to be called Felehi, but I laugh. And the white man coughs, puts me in a box labeled caricature, dismisses my presence in the room, and he leaves making a joke of me. When my culture is seen as a costume, I'm reminded that my ancestry is nothing more than another American tourist attraction, that my history can be bought and worn as plastic from Spirit Halloween and CVS, and they proclaim themselves pharaohs, as if you were made of gold, and I stand in front of a statue of a goddess with a Nile face like mine. For a moment, I feel home in front of this gorgeous woman carved from brown stone. An old woman walks up behind me, and I hear her gasp at the statue's beauty. I turn to walk away, making eye contact for only a moment, but her gaze turns sour, brightened, as if I coughed, as if I am not the Nile beauty carved from stone. When my scarf is seen as the infection, I'm reminded that in America, I am a monster, not a woman. And everyone coughs, watches me carefully in Trader Joe's, eyes me suspiciously in parking lots, in museums, at the DMV, asking me to take off both masks, as if my brown skin will make you view me any less like danger, but in my poems, my face is bare. I miss class Wednesday morning, and I wake up with 2 cops standing inside my bedroom door. My scarf is too far out of reach. Something tells me it won't protect me now, so I don't move. I don't breathe. And the white man coughs. So that's Bigotry in the Time of Infection. Thank you. So it took, moving on to the competition part now. So it took a lot of debating with myself in order to come up with the conclusion of the first, second, and third place winners, because each submission was incredibly well written. However, it was clear to me that these poets were even more exceptionally strong in their ability to put words on paper, put together imagery and incredibly strong messages. I have the pleasure of reading the third and second place poems myself, which I'm super excited about. The third place winner was someone named Margaret Cooper, with the poem The Maddening Concept of Living, which I will pull up and read now. So, the maddening concept of living. The finest things in life often fade far too quickly. One moment, the sweet innocence of tooth fairies, birthday cakes, and snowmen occupy our minds. We're content with the blissful life we've conjured in our imagination. Then suddenly, adolescent ignorance propels us through time, becoming eager to explore a world that is simply a beautiful lie. Birthdays begin to slip through our fingers until we are hit with something that has us crawling back, desperately grasping for a life that vanished long ago. The crushing weight of independence that is so craved by stubborn young souls will chip away at us until we are at the brink of crumbling to dust. And somewhere under the debris, we lie shriveled and angry at a world that we were told would be ours. But somewhere, somehow, we will find sparks of light that are compelling enough to prevent us from succumbing to darkness, and we learn to put one foot in front of the other. Perhaps, when we grow old, our childlike sense of wonder will dwindle. Perhaps, we won't have the energy to create new memories during the draining process of trying to recall previous ones. Perhaps, the only reminder of past joys will be the crinkle of crow's feet at the corners of our eyes when we look in the mirror. But perhaps we will find jubilance in the small things that surround us and in the beauty of life we once took for granted. We will find our old selves again. Numbness will not triumph, for we have to go through hell to find heaven, and we must at first be broken before we become whole. So, snaps to that, and congratulations to Margaret Cooper. Now,
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, Halima. I did actually mean to say at the beginning and completely forgot. We are awarding small cash prizes this year. And so I did want to say for our poetry winners, all 3 that were selected will be receiving $50 each as our cash prizes. And when we do our art awards, I will also announce that, but I apologize for
You're good.
That. Thank you, Halima.
So second place, also incredibly excited to read, and it has I was blown away by the writing and the imagery. I think as I'm reading this, you will probably connect that it references back to Dante's Inferno. So this poem, the second place, goes to Holly Brown. The poem is untitled. I'll read it now. An unexpected incontinence who births a vicious wrath, probing its victim to commit relentless violence to prove one's own righteousness. A false victory that provides nothing other than an abyss of pride, clouding the victim's perception until it is so myopic that solace seems out of reach. The fraud that temptation hides from its sinners is treacherous, where one believes their wealth determines their value, unaware that their gluttony and avarice will take them to a place so vulgar that even Satan suffers. The wild inferno tickles the flesh of those who are unlucky enough to reside in this pit. Lost souls in a vestibule listening to the abject wails of those who choose to live a life of selfish desires. Fortunate enough to avoid a life tainted by the behaviors of the deadly sins, choosing love over lust, unlike their unlucky companions, deep into the hole where they implore God to cease their torture. But to endure is to be saved. Through the flames of interminable hell, a light comes to give an aroma of sweetness for those that halt their blasphemy. An odd synesthesia in a gruesome hole, taking pilgrims of a long-lasting spiritual journey upstairs, leaving behind the sinners and pagans to be fulfilled with envy, until finally, sloth overtakes their souls, so they give up, and the inferno continues to burn. That's second place again. Congratulations to Holly. Snap and claps. Now, when I tell you the first poem wowed me, and I mean I literally had to read it 3 or 4 times to fully allow it to sink in. And it was very clear that even just from the first time reading it, that it was really going to stick with me for a while. So I felt like it was the clear winner among such incredible submissions. And now I'm even more excited that the poet will be reading it themselves for us today. And so I congratulate Ren Jackson for first place in our competition. You can start whenever you want. I'll be yourself now.
She watched gently on, her gaze little more than moonlight filtered through curtained gauze, both lips and fingers engaged with the figure at her knee. Words brushed rouge and flush, the high bones of a sallow face, whilst broken strands were treated tenderly as gold. A body trembled beneath quiet touch, muscles betraying the fear of finite millennia encapsulated in both fine porcelain skeleton, crafted with that delicate gall of divinity, and papier-mâché, delicate in its beauty, outspoken in tongues of exhaustion. But the woman upon whose warmth this body fed was as familiar as time itself, the cascade and the effervescence, and so the fragility held that same space as silence, hand in hand. Her fingers told the skin beneath them of stories old and stories new, the characters of the unique geography of ridges and whorls. Comforting were these, heavy as they were, an anchor at harbor when the journey could comfortably be named complete. A garden of species unmarked, chimeric as if of horn and ivory, a river running fair, sweetened with that skin of nymphs immortal and flirtation made modest art. A huntress of the celestial, blood dressed in silver, stave glancing over prey, ire seeding to kindness as fletching seeds to time, a feather to precious wind. A mess of stone and iron, cowardly armored against the light, in which thrives the most beautiful of the times. The metal, the forge which runs cold and whispers those echoes of legend long gone. Now seated in a nearby chair, the only humble ornament in otherwise winter-barren quarters, her posture, dignified as of a royal habit, seemed to maintain some curve of eternity. Her body grew now cold, her gaze unmoving and temperate, the incidental product of all flickering ash and ember. Her mouth moved not, but poetry graced the remnant air granted adjacent lungs. Sweet, filling. Blame plays not upon the heart of the free, scarred and bloodied as it be, strings of juniper unprimed in all of their age. Body be weightless, embalmed with elm and most tempered cypress, with sweetgrass and innocent sage, be in season. The heavens be not cold, be not uninviting. Although these gifts be small, gallstones as to boulders, let them the broken abate and assuage. Let gold and silver, finest clay and papyrus be priceless though lacking spirit, as they were she. They were she, and somewhere far must she attend. Keep space, said she whose face was cloaked in shadow, voice a lullaby soothing to the worst of colic. Her fingers, once smoothing tear-graced skin, now teased tarnished bronze to open. The night air filled her lungs, a breath anew, and so the body, whose beauty cannot be denied, drew no more. Rest now, for a new journey must you take upon. Difficult will it certainly be, but you now have companion in hand to hold. The woman returned her hand to the cradle of her thighs, as if not once disrupted as her smile grew tired. She had too journeyed long. She had too seen much violence and incident, guilt and refuse. She too had mothered children and seen them expire, and she too knew pain. Her name was death, is death, and will be death, as the future comes, and with it, the poetry of eras forever unfinished.
Thank you so much. That was unbelievable. Everything that we received. Yeah, honestly, powerful work. I feel like I shouldn't even speak right now. But hang on one second, guys. So I'm next going to introduce Casey WEIBUST to you. She was our art juror for the show. She was with me all day today, and we honestly just could not stop talking about everything that we had in the gallery space. And again, I will just reiterate quick, she's going to go through all of our art awards, and I want to just say, to be included in this show, honestly, to be picked by your teachers, is just so unbelievable and a huge honor. And we're so pleased to have both the artwork and the poetry here. So yeah, Casey WEIBUST, she curated, or she juried the show. She has her BFA in printmaking from Massachusetts College of Art. She has been a printmaking instructor at the Jamestown Art Center, the South County Art Association, and the RISD Young Artist Program for several years. And she's currently the creative arts director at Out of the Box Studio and Gallery in Jamestown. So welcome, Casey.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. So it was really fun for me to be at the space today looking at everyone's work. Because of COVID, I haven't really been to like a gallery or to many galleries or museums or anything. So it was kind of like a treat that I was able to go and just kind of look at art all day, which I don't always have the time to do. And as Sarah said, my name is Casey WEIBUST, and I am the arts director at Out of the Box Studio and Gallery, which is run and operated by Looking Upwards, and the agency supports people with disabilities. So, and my connection to Hera Gallery is really just John Catula, who's very involved in Hera Gallery. I taught with him at the Met School Arts Advisory years and years ago, and we used to go to Hera often with the students to look at the work and be inspired by the work. And then also they would sometimes exhibit in this show. So I actually hung some work for this show. I think it was probably like 5 years ago or 6 years ago. So I feel really connected to the Hera Gallery. It's a really beautiful space, and you guys should all feel honored to have your work hanging in the show. And like Sarah said as well, everyone that was picked to be in the show, it was just really, I was really moved by the diversity of the mediums and just that everybody was all go and art to my studio and make art. It was just really refreshing work and just pure. And you could tell that the artists that created the works were passionate about art and learning and experimenting. So I picked the pieces for the awards. There are quite a few awards. I was there for a few hours because I just kept going back to certain pieces and changing my mind here and there just because all the works were just beautiful. But I picked works that were, you know, I'm really drawn to stuff that has like bold contrast, a lot of texture and layers. Like as a printmaker myself, I love layers, multiple layers in a piece, and I'm really quite fond of mixed media works. So a lot of the works that I picked kind of fit into those categories, but it was a little bit in between. So yeah, I'm ready to start
And
listing off the awards.
I again, I'm going to interrupt. I lied to you guys. I didn't go over the award pricing when I said I did. So we wanted to say that all of our first prize winners are also going to receive a $50 award. We have first, second, and an honorable mention for each category. And then we also have a best of show, which will receive a $100 scholarship cash prize. And so with that, I apologize for interrupting again. Thank you, Casey.
No problem. Yeah, I also wanted to say too, when I go through the titles and the and your names, I hope that I say it right. So I apologize. But if anyone does want to correct me, feel free to jump in and be like, "That's not how you say that," or say my name. I'm totally fine with that. My last name's WEIBUST, and people get it wrong all the time. So I'm constantly called WEIBUST, WEIBUST. So feel free to jump in and tell me if I say it wrong. I do apologize if I do. So do you want me to just like start, or you'll just put up the piece that if I start with the painting and mixed media?
Perfect.
Does that sound good?
That sounds
okay, awesome.
good.
So the different awards were painting and mixed media, black and white, portrait, 3D ceramics, photography, and then the best in show. So we're going to start with the painting and the mixed media, and the honorable mention, which goes to Layla Tobia for Our Rights, Our Future. And she is from the LaSalle School. Then the next award goes to Marissa North. This is for second place. And she from Cranston, and her piece is They Weep Us, They Water.
Are we seeing it? Oh, is it not showing?
Hasn't popped up quite yet.
There we go.
These, oh yeah, she's screen sharing. There it is. So that is, again, Marissa North, second place, They Weep Us, They Water. And then the next one, which is the first place winner of the painting mixed media, is by Sonia Ekloff from Exeter, West Greenwich. And the piece is called Senbazuru, if I'm saying that correctly. So the painting mixed media, I had the most fun picking, just because I'm just really drawn, like I said, to mixed media works. So, but a lot of the works from the show are mixed media. So I just had so much fun looking at everything. And the next category is black and white, which would be like graphite or pencil, or just like anything that's just kind of like that stark contrast, which I was looking at, which is another thing that I look for when I'm looking in my own work too. I love bold contrasts and just basic kind of black and white. So the honorable mention goes to Gabriella Carnival for her piece. It's untitled, and she is from North Kingstown. And then the second place for the black and white is Lucy Ambrad from South Kingstown. And her work that won second place is called In the Depths. And it's kind of cool to see on the screen. This piece is super tiny, so it's even more detailed than it even looks on here. And then the first place for black and white goes to Anna Dimitrick for A Different Way of Looking at It from South Kingstown. It should come up pretty cool. And this piece was super interesting because I'm far away. It looks kind of like a marker drawing, but it's actually cut out. It's hard to see on the screen, but if you see it in person, it's cut out pieces of paper, which is pretty neat. So if you go to the show, just make sure to look up close at that one. And then for the portraits, that's the next category. The honorable mention is for Lillian Gould from South Kingstown for her piece called Proud. And then the second place winner of the portrait is, again, Gabriella Carnival from Kingstown for her piece, Rosie.
Sorry, guys, hang on.
Fine.
There we go. Perfect.
And this piece is pretty rather large. So a lot of the pieces, I was really impressed by the scale of them as well. And then the next piece for this category is Caitlin Duska from Exeter, West Greenwich. And that is for her piece, Reflecting. I think we're all doing a lot of reflecting right now in our lives. And then for the 3D ceramics, there was honorable mention for Ula Kylander from South Kingstown for their piece Raccoon. And then for second place, there's Cameron Moore from Westerly for their piece Skull. And then there is the first place winner, which is Abigail Tober for Hedgehog, and she's from Kingstown High School. I just have a really special connection to hedgehogs. My brother had one for years, and I just, I was connected to this little guy.
This whole body of animals, they're so detailed.
I know.
It's amazing.
It's incredible. And it's interesting too, because there was a lot of animals even from different schools. Like I felt like even the different schools all had kind of some kind of animal element into their work, which was really neat. And then for photography, we have Isabella Day for the honorable mention for their piece Frere at Cane. And she is from South Kingstown. And then the second place winner goes to Andrew Tesser for their piece The Truck Graveyard from South Kingstown. And then there was the first place, which is from Grace Clark from South Kingstown. And that is A Long Walk.
It's so big. Hang on, I have it cropped here. Hang on. Sorry, Grace.
I know the screen sharing is such a difficult thing.
Yeah, everyone bear with me. And to have it all at once, like in order, it's still nothing's fluid ever.
I'm impressed. You have it all organized. And so that is it for the photography. And then for the best in show, that's always the hardest one to pick because they're all, you know, I was just moved by all the pieces and them as just a whole. And everyone, a lot of the work really just spoke to me and just content and also just like just seemed like people were really exploring their artistic ability using a variety of materials and also you know, expressing themselves and, you know, sharing your work can be really vulnerable in a lot of ways just through you know, just through showing your work and exposing it to people. But you know, there's when you start to also put yourself into it even more, the piece that I chose, the artist had put kind of like their writings into it and was really kind of like putting themselves out there, like, this is how I'm feeling right now. And I think a lot of us are feeling kind of detached and kind of disconnected from each other and ourselves even at this time. And this piece just really spoke to me. And it is, I actually don't even, I screwed up and don't have the artist's name written down. I have just the title. The World in My Eyes is the piece.
Alyssa Zampa.
And
is that correct? I think
Alyssa Zampa. Okay. I apologize, Alyssa. I wrote down the title and where your school was, but not your name for some reason. So The World in My Eyes. And I just love the mixed media, and also just again, like kind of the putting herself out there, the vulnerability of this piece, and just kind of like the disconnectedness, and just kind of the expression in the face as well, just kind of like feeling a little bit lost. And I just loved the layers of this piece as well, just kind of the way that there was just kind of a ripped paper, and it was just very raw and pure, and I just connected to it. So that is the best of show, The World in My Eyes. And thank you guys all. I'm just really impressed with your work, and I encourage you guys to keep submitting to different shows. There's so many shows in the community that you can submit to. There's South County Art Association, there's shows at the Jamestown Art Center, there's Portsmouth Arts Guild. They're just places all over that you can submit your work to, and just keep at it, because the work is just gorgeous. So congrats. And you made me all want to go to my studio and make stuff. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Casey. And thank you, Halima, to both of you for your time jurying the poetry and art. And yeah, I will add on to what Casey said. Definitely look for calls all over the state. HERA has its own page on our website for calls for art, so you should always pay attention to those. And I personally want to reach out to all the students, moving forward into maybe art schools or even galleries. If there's questions or anything that you guys want to just chat my ear off about, you can always contact me through HERA, and I'm more than willing to sit down and either Zoom or chat in person here at the gallery. And so this will be on our website, right on our front page. You'll see the image of the show card. You'll click on that and it'll have all of the information. And after today, we'll have images and this video. So thank you so much. I think we're good. Yeah, if there's any questions or anything, yeah, let me know. And even after the fact, yeah, anyone can reach out to me. So thanks so much. Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats to all our students.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you to all our teachers. Yeah. Holy cow.